Somebody learn my baby how to change gears on a Cadillac gate. Somebody learn my baby how to change gears on a Cadillac gate. Ever since that happened, I can't keep my baby straight. I hate to hear that Cadillac whistle blow boo-hoo. Said I do hate to hear Cadillac whistle blow boo-hoo. Every time my woman hear it, makes her feel like riding too.
The Grand Street community that I live on was that one block was just basically family members. And my aunt stayed on the street, aunt and uncle. Had two sets of aunts and uncles that stayed on the street, plus my mother. And with my mother at that time, when we first moved there, my grandfather stayed with us, great-grandfather, and my grandmother. So we all shared one house together. After urban renewal came through in the early 60s, early to mid 60s, our community was disrupted, and not for the good part. Durham East West Expressway came. A lot of beautiful homes and families were uprooted. Families were displaced all over Durham because one time, like I said, it was like a community. Then everyone got displaced.
So where did they go?
They went all over Durham. Some on the west side, some the east side. So some stayed in the area, and then the city built Phillips Street Projects came. I think that was in the late 60s. I'm not sure. It was 60s. And with that, the whole dynamics of the Grand Street community changed.
Ever since that happened, I can't keep my baby straight.
I lived out of my car and on couches the summer of 2016. And then my coworker and the friend that I had who was letting me stay on his couch occasionally told me about the house next to him in the duplex. He said that, this is through DCLT, the land trust, and they rent out to veterans on low income. And so I, basically busted tail to find a way to secure a security and deposit. I got lucky. I was able to move in September 1st of 2016 into that house. And let me tell you, it's been the best house I've ever been in. It's people look at me and from that community and they just see another white person moving in, gentrification. And I'm like, this has been the best place I've ever lived in outside of the barracks. And I can still see, the tension here between the old people, the old residents and the new residents. But I'm one of those people that's like, we need to get together. We need to save the history.
Somebody learn my baby how to change gears on a Cadillac gate. Ever since that happened,
I was raised in Haytag, 114 East Proctor Street. I was born in that neighborhood, and I was there when urban renewal came, and we had to all go our different ways. When I was growing up, In the neighborhood that I was in, I didn't know it was special, but it was. If you went anywhere around there, most likely they knew my parents. And when we grew up, somebody could tell you what to do, or either if you did something, your mom, your dad know before you even got home.
So when we first came to the West End, it was like one big family, all with about 25 houses more on the street. It was like one big family, but we just lived in different houses. Didn't we have to worry about no food because what your mama didn't have, a neighbor was sending over. Somebody would give you something out of their garden. That was when people were scared about their gardens. And it looked like every house had a garden. And so we never went hungry. Sometimes we didn't have a variety of food. Sometimes we just had some cabbage and fatback meat, but we got enough. And we had that good old hot homemade bread, big old cakes of bread. They didn't make a lot of biscuits, like on Sunday they had cupcakes. So had a big old whole cake of bread and just break it off and eat it with some molasses and meat. We was doing fine. Mm-hmm. I lived on Connell Street where there was all blacks. We just black families and all like that. But now we have gentrification has kind of robbed us of that family-like knowing each other involvement in our neighborhood. So it's changed like that. We don't have that love and that friendship like we have. Have a lot of smiles, political smiles, but not real stuff.
What would you change about your neighborhood?
Well, there's an old song they used to sing, the old time religion in the good old way. And I would love for that old love to come back in the good old way, although, not down to the outer houses and all like that, but but the love and the fellowship among the neighbors that we used to have, It was so nice, you felt so wonderful, so comfortable, so at home when you could even go across the street and if you did, you ran out of onion, you was making a soup and you told your neighbor, send me an onion over here. And and things of that sort, that the sweetness of it, the family-like and the love of the family. But now, we have all of our old residents are gone because of gentrification, gone because of when they renovated houses, they were not able to get back in them because the rent went from $400 and $500 up to $850 and $900. So they couldn't come back. A lot of them wanted to come back, but because of finance and their way of living at this age, since they had been there for years, and then all of a sudden and the wages didn't go up. The welfare checks, not the welfare checks, the retirement checks didn't go up anymore. So their finance was limited. So a lot of their love will probably never come back.
Well, actually, I was born on the Southside, and I think I may have been 12 or 13 when we moved to the West End.
How have your neighborhoods changed since that time?
Well, the neighborhood that I grew up is changed much, a lot. Also, West End has changed a lot also.
Would you think it was for the better, for the worse?
I hate to see it, but I think for the worse.
Could you just tell me, like, when you say the worst, it's changed for the worse with all the renovation and all the new housing, and they have put it in and somewhat given a little facelift? Or would the worst come in at?
The worst come in because where are my old neighbors at? Who speaks to me when they walk up the street or come down the street? Most of the time I'm ignored, You're not recognized anymore. I see now we can be called the big dogs because we are surrounded by the big houses and all that, which ran my tax bill up too, But I don't feel as comfortable that I once did feel.
What would you change about Durham today?
Bring back some of that old neighborhood love.
Beautiful.
Back in the day, we used to come down and hit a Lion Park. At the recreation center, the ball field.
Yeah.
But also, we had a ball field. We made a ball field on between Chapel Hill Road, the old Maplewood, and St. Street. That's where we went every day. Over there behind those houses, and nobody bothered us, and we played ball over there.
What would you change about your neighborhood?
I would definitely change the rent, and I would change what I'm getting for the rent. I feel like, I can see my rent raising, like, as I go. It raised even, like, before I got there. They were like, it's going to change, like, partway through your lease.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, they told me that. They're like, yeah, they were like, when you signed, because I signed on April of 2017. And so this year, 2018, like, they were telling me, like, oh, it's going to, like, raise a little bit.
Wow,
like,
you're still under the same lease?
Yeah.
That seems like it should be against the law. The lease is a contract.
Lease is a contract. It's weird.
Okay.
It was weird.
Okay.
And then also, just what I'm getting for my rent is not the best. Okay. My plumbing is, like, not up to par.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's, like, to the point where, like, basically I'm afraid to cook because it's either my sink can't handle it, the water can't handle it, the stove can't handle it, the fire alarms can't handle it.
Oh,
like,
right. Well, the fire alarm.
They'll always go off, and it's just, like, that's something that is especially a big part of, like, when I have people over, I like to have food,
Yeah,
I like to give
sure.
people food, I like to host, and I'm like, that definitely, like, is something I would change, because it's, like,
Right.
when I, like, think of that, it's, like, that's a big part of me growing up, and that's a big part of, like, my, like, favorite memories of being
Right.
around people.
Bringing people over, but you feel like you can't because the house is not up to par.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah. Well, how's Durham changed since your first memories of it?
I think, well, I definitely started getting off campus.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I got off campus, it was really different, like, just even in, like, both, like, who was around and who lived certain places, and also, like, the businesses that, were available.
I noticed that they were different once you got off campus. Yeah.
especially in regards to like black businesses.
What do you mean?
Well, one of my favorite places was Dave's, which is not gone at the moment. It's just I think they're trying to like move.
Okay.
And so I think they're in the middle of like trying to find a new place or something's going on.
And Dave's
but
a restaurant? What is
Dave's
it?
is a chicken and waffles restaurant.
Oh.
And
Dave's.
Dave's, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so, yeah, I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also I've noticed the like the construction of like certain buildings, especially in the downtown area, like new condos, new buildings.
Yeah.
Especially like right off of Duke's East Campus. Like they're currently building some kind of like condo building.
Right.
And with that, I've like seen people like, okay, well I have to move and I can't afford to stay here anymore, so I'm gonna have to go. So it's affected both like people and businesses that people contribute to.
Somebody anoint my baby how to change it on a Cadillac.
What are the ways that you've seen those favorite parts be impacted by like development in Durham?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I know part of Duke Forest has been cut down to build more stuff for the school. So right where we live off of Duke University Road and Chapel Hill. Just some things in those areas, like near East Campus of Duke, they're cutting down trees to build more who knows what.
In the conversations I know I've had with like city council, they always say that like when having conversations about like the development of Durham, that they're doing this like for like the interest of like the people in the community. Do you feel like that's like an accurate sentiment?
It'd be hard to say that that's the case because I certainly haven't been consulted about these big changes, and I haven't heard requests for comments about things that are happening. So if that's the case, that they're taking the cue from what the people in the city want, I don't know how they're getting that information out to the public so that they can respond.
How to change it on a Cadillac. Somebody anoint my baby how to change it on a Cadillac. Ever since that happened, I can't keep my baby straight. I hate to hear that Cadillac whistle blow boo.
How have you seen your Durham change since you've grown up here?
Well, I've seen that a lot of old neighborhoods change into new ones, like when, I don't know, well, actually I do know. It's like when like there was an old house, they demolish it and turn it into something new. Like there's a lot of new houses I don't really see most of the time, and so there's new things that I don't know about until I go there, and like I recognize something that was there but now it's not into something new.
Thank you so much. How does that feel, seeing something new where you saw something before?
Well, it feels like, it is like when, like, there's something that you want to go to remember something, but there's something new there. It's like having, like, some kind of feeling where you usually were, but now it's different. And I would also like to see more free grown-ups instead of them always working.
Yeah, what kind of lessons do you have for people in charge, people with power? What would you tell them, the folks making the decision in city council, about what you think Durham should be focused on right now?
Durham should be focused on mostly making Durham better, not necessarily demolishing every old house and making it new.
Yes, oh my Lord, tell me the time is drawing nigh. Because the time is drawing nigh. See the sun of the judgment, yes. See the sun of the judgment, Lord, Lord, Lord. See the sun of the judgment, yes, oh my Lord, tell me the time is drawing nigh. Because the time is drawing nigh. Read your holy Bible, yes. By the 21st chapter, Lord, 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 read the signs of judgment. Yes, oh my Lord, tell me the time is drawing. Because the time is drawing.